Hello, my name is Hans George Campbell, and today I'm showing some of my Sony Playstation items. The Sony Playstation was first released December 3rd, 1994, and it was discontinued March 23rd of 2006. 102.49 million units were sold, and 7,918 games were produced for this system. This right here is the series of the 1000 series PlayStation. You got your two memory card slots and your two game controller ports. You've got your power, your reset button, and your open close button. And there's your laser assembly. Okay. In the back we have your color composite output, and I think this is digital audio if I'm not mistaken. And of course you got your left and your right audio, and you got your, I think this is serial I/O, this port here, and of course you got your normal video audio output port right here. Of course this is for your AC cord, and this is your parallel port. And the cover for this, well, I don't want to take it off, but anyway, there's a cover that covers this parallel port, and you can use this parallel port. There's different devices that you can plug into that parallel port. Anyway, this particular PlayStation, I mean, the 1000 series were mainly used, believe it or not, as a hi-fi CD player, because Sony is known for their famous sound chips. And so stereo hi-fi buffs, they would use a Sony Playstation as a cheap CD player, because back then the CD players and CD-ROM was new. It was just introduced, and CD players for the home were very expensive. And so this was a very cheap way, I mean, this was a cheap way or an affordable way of getting a CD player, an audio CD player. And I think that this is the reason why so many of these units were sold. I think a lot of people that bought the Sony PlayStation bought it to use it as a CD player. And of course, it also plays great games too. Anyway, this is the 1000 series. Only the 1000 series has these AV connectors on the rear. Alright. Next, we have the 5000 series. This is the 5000 series of the Sony PlayStation. And it's just like the 1000 series. The main difference is the rear. The color composite output RCA jack and the left and right audio jacks and the digital audio jack has been removed from the 5000 series. And it's also like this on the 7000 series. Okay. But it still has, of course, your normal AV port, and it still has the serial I/O port, and it still has your parallel port. Okay, so that's the main difference between the 1000 and the 5000 series. And like I said, the 7000 series is similar to the 5000 series. I think there was only just certain internal things, like there's differences on the motherboards between the 5000 and the 7000. And finally, of the fat PlayStations, these are they're known as fat PlayStations because there's also a slim PlayStation, but I don't like those. most serious collectors, we don't like the slimline Sony PlayStation or the Sony PlayStation 2. We prefer the fat models, the original models. Okay, this is the 9000 series. It looks the same as the 1000, the 5000, and the 7000, except when you look at the rear. This time, Sony removed the parallel port so that people couldn't use that port to exploit the system. So Sony removed that parallel port. So the 9000 series of the PlayStation is the least desirable Sony PlayStation. Alrighty, now I'm going to show you some peripherals. We have a high quality, well let me okay, that should do it. Okay, we've got a high quality, oh my god, it's still, it's still not high enough. And I might have to like zoom out a little bit. Anyway, okay, this I think looks better. This is, these cables are put out by Sony for their PlayStation. It's the S-Video cable. Very high quality metal and low capacitance, heavily shielded cables, gold plated. I mean, this is a very nice cable. This is like one of their top of the line cables. It's like one of the best cables you can buy for the Sony PlayStation. There's the front of that, and the back there's, you know, not that much on it or whatever. Okay. We also have, I think I can zoom in a little bit now, put it back where I had it. We also have a Game Shark. This plugs into the parallel port and allows you to do all kinds of neat things with your Sony PlayStation. And there's a switch here, and then there, I think this is a pass-through on the back, but this is a Game Shark. These are very hard to find now. I think the only place left that you can find these is like on eBay, and they don't show up that often on eBay either. And there's different versions of this Game Shark. Okay. Anyway, that's the Game Shark. Alrighty, now to show you some of the controllers that were available for the Sony PlayStation. This here is the original. Let me aim down a little bit. Yeah, that's good. Okay, this is the original Sony PlayStation controller. Okay, you notice it doesn't have the thumbsticks. Okay. This is the DualShock controller, right here, the DualShock for the Sony PlayStation. This one here is the red DualShock. There's also a blue version of this, like a translucent blue. I think there's a green one as well. These were mainly, I think these mainly were introduced, they came out with the PS1, which is a slimline PlayStation. Anyway, there's a red one, DualShock controller. And we have, it's like a real light beige. A real light beige DualShock PS1 controller. This one was like the controllers that you would get with the slimline PlayStations, you know, PS1s. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll show the few games that I have. I mean, keep in mind there's almost 8,000 games released for the PlayStation. I only have 20 to show. I know my collection is not that huge. Anyway, there's, you know what? Well, actually, that should be okay. There is Animaniacs 10-Pin Alley for the PlayStation. And then there's the rear of it. You know, it looks like on the rear of the case. Next we have Army Men, Sarge's Heroes 2 for the PlayStation. Okay, and we got, let's see, there's the back of the case. Right there, back of the case. Next we have, what is it, let's see, ATV Mania. Okay. And then we have card games. Yeah, card games. I actually like this game. I play cards once in a while against my PlayStation. Next we have Chrono Cross for the Sony PlayStation. Trying to get it to where it doesn't, you know, it doesn't reflect or doesn't have glare on it, so you can see it. Alrighty, then we have Crossroad Crisis. Yeah, Crossroad Crisis. And here we have another role-playing adventure game. I think it's called, what, Darkstone. Yeah, Darkstone for the Sony PlayStation. And there's the back of the case. As you can see, my games, I may not have that many games for the Sony PlayStation, but the ones that I do have, they're in like brand new condition. They're in collector's condition. For some reason, Sony PlayStation games right now are getting hard to find. I mean, the only place left where you can actually find them is on eBay and like Amazon, but I rarely ever see them anymore like in the local Goodwills or Salvation Army or thrift stores or Craigslist or estate sales or whatever. Sony PlayStations or the games rarely ever pop up anymore, especially the games. Alrighty, next we have the darn it, get in there. I'm trying to get it centered. Dukes of Hazzard for the PlayStation 2. Excuse me, PlayStation. I'm getting ahead of myself here because I'm going to be showing my PlayStation 2 and games next. And then I have Gran Turismo 2. I just have the CD. I don't have the actual the manual and all that. Just have just a CD in a case. That's Gran Turismo 2. And next I have Galaga for the Sony Playstation. Next we have the Italian Job. This is actually a very interesting driving game. I think it's a driving game, if I remember correctly. The Italian Job. Alrighty. Next we have Medal of Honor for the Sony PlayStation. And it's in really nice shape, considering how popular these games were. Medal of Honor for the Sony PlayStation. Okay, this right here is Spec Ops Covert Assault. Next we have Siphon Filter. Now this is the greatest hits version. I usually don't like getting them like this, but because PlayStation games are so hard to find now, I just get them even in this format here. But normally I prefer collecting the black label for the PlayStation games. But anyway, there's Siphon Filter. And this is Siphon Filter 2. Okay, this is another greatest hits one, but like I said, Sony PlayStation games are getting hard to find now, so I'll accept them even in the greatest hits case. But this is Test Drive 5. From Accolade. I think it's an Accolade game. Yeah, Accolade game. Next we have Tomb Raider, the last Revelation. Another Tomb Raider game, Adventures of Lara Croft, Tomb Raider 3. Next we have Wild Arms for the Sony Playstation. And last but not least, in my collection, we have Wild Arms 2. Okay, well, that's it for this video. My name is Hans George Campbell, and until next time.